Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Why am I unmuted? Yes, I am. Nate Manahan here in Indianapolis, Indiana. May the 4th be with you. It is May the 4th, the day before Cinco de Mayo, the day before the weekend of the Oaks and the Kentucky Derby and all the great things that bring in spring. The Indy Mini here in Indianapolis, where you can go and run 13.1 miles, which involves including 2.5 miles around the Indianapolis track. How much fun would that be, Jenny? In fact, let's bring Jenny and Mike here in the great world of payments, the galactic payment industry. Hope you enjoyed that for the few of you who got to watch that. And it will be on our Instagram feed in a little bit after I get it put on when I just created just a few moments ago, because that's how I roll. Jenny Rickle from Glenwood Springs, Colorado, here on Office Hours. Jenny, I'm going to assume you've done, I know you do the ultra marathons, but I'm assuming you've done a mini marathon at some point, right? It'd be pretty fun to run around a 2.5 mile Indianapolis 500 track. You know, you don't have the million people cheering on like you do on the 500 day, but come Saturday, that's what I think, 25,000, something like that. I forget how big it is.
That sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun to me.
So I have always said I'm going to do it, and I never do it. But maybe next year. Let's see if I can get there. I just ran a 5K yesterday, so I'm, 3 miles of that, somewhat close. But Jenny, how are things in Glenwood Springs? I am hoping spring has fully sprung there, correct?
It's finally here. Yeah. Except for now all the snow melt is coming. So there's mudslides everywhere. So there's always something happening in Colorado, it feels like. But I am definitely enjoying the sunshine. I even got a little sunburn last week, which I was like, what is this thing? The sun?
Yeah.
So loving it for sure.
You can't ask for any more than that. I mean, that's just getting a little extra sun. Mike Stetzel, how are things 2 hours north here in Warsaw, Indiana?
Same thing. I got a little sun and wind burn last weekend. The weatherman said we have had our final frost until fall as of this morning. So looks all 60s and 70s as far as I can see on the forecast. And, I think this is going to happen a lot now, Nate. But so did you have any AI help when you wrote that?
Oh, Mike, absolutely I did. That's how I could get it done in 10 minutes.
It was awesome.
So I got that.
Oh, you did do it 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So I literally created all of that in 10 minutes on, luckily I do have Final Cut Pro that can do that really, really quickly on the text piece. So I didn't have to mess with any other pieces, but then I used chat open AI. In fact, here, let's, since you asked, so because I'm always just saying you should, if you don't take the chance, go use one of these AI. Don't be scared of it. Give me a second while I log into the screen that I want to here, without you sharing any of my personal information. But let's see how quickly I can find it. Here we go. So if you can see here, I typed in, write a Star Wars-like intro for how PayProTec partners can use the Force to grow their portfolio. I quickly read over it, said that's great. Now, if I wanted to regenerate that response, or I'm just going to do this, write a second version. This is, I like to demo, and it'll give me a whole different version writing this out. Now we have episode the PayProTec Ascension versus the one before, which was the PayProTec Awakening. They're playing off the names, doing all that, all just by AI. And quickly, it's all about, and AI is not going to take our jobs. It's going to add new jobs. I really believe that. And learning how to use AI is going to be one of the greatest tools we can have that can make us so much faster. And now that even like Grammarly has some of their Grammarly Go and stuff, amazing. Yeah, I have a training coming out. I have it. I'm probably halfway done. It's going to come out in May. I don't know exactly when, but trust me, we're going to do a training on that. But today we're not talking that. We are talking flat rate pricing. And this is one of the most important things in our industry. And we can fight and kick and scream and get mad at Jack Dorsey and mad at Square, but they created a revolution that I think ultimately brought us to an edge pricing. They created a revolution and said that customers demand more clarity, more transparency, and they brought in flat rate pricing. They underpriced themselves. They had to eventually go flat rate pricing with a transaction fee in order to get profitable on both of their micro accounts. But they certainly created a revolution that we have to be into, and that now for several years we have had flat rate pricing that's possible. Mike, can you walk us basics of what flat rate pricing is and what does that do in our system to some of the other things like fees and things that are in our system when you choose flat rate pricing when setting up a merchant?
First off, it's awesome. And what it does is when we do that analysis for you and we send you an analysis that says we recommend you charge this merchant 2.7%. So in that 2.7%, we have encompassed interchange, dues and assessments, our profit. So therefore, the basis points and the transaction fees are all rolled into one in order to make your life as a salesperson easy and your merchant's life easy. Who can't understand when you say all of your credit card fees will total 2.7%? That's it. That's all you have to say. And then, as Nate said, the system does the rest for you and makes a true flat rate out of that calculation.
Well, and what it does is it brings clarity, makes it easy to calculate. Certainly, if when we can get to whole percentages. But and Jenny, I didn't prep you for this question, so you can throw it back and say. But I know that Billy has worked with several of our partners when they have some larger merchants where they can set up and make 70 to 80 basis points. But when the effective rate, because of the card types, maybe it's level 2, level 3, and they can actually go through and maybe set them up at like 2.2, 2.3%, and maybe even lower. I don't look at all of our pricing and still be somewhat of a profitable account. It's not as much as an edge pricing. What have you seen do you see some of our partners being able to use that?
Oh, 100% absolutely. And that's where that statement analysis comes into play, like Mike had stated. So we can review what are the car types? Is it a retailer restaurant? Is it, or excuse me, e-commerce? Are they being keyed in or swiped? Because there's a lot of factors when it comes to the cost of the card, right? And we give a lot of wiggle room because there is a lot of play depending upon car type, location, and method of payment, right? Is it being swiped or keyed in? So when we can really analyze that and see, get a general idea of the flow of the business and the payments, we can get down to the dime, nickel, pennies and make sure that you can remain profitable, but we can get them down to a really lower rate. So statement analysis helps so much when we can review that for sure.
Now I'm going to bring up, and I think you guys will be able to walk me through. I have an actual back payments. I just clicked over. I chose a Pay Anywhere A920. We'll see how fast this goes. This is always, should have jumped to this page beforehand. There we go. All right. So when we're getting into what are some of the important things, and if I need to zoom in, that I need to look at when I'm going to go to a flat rate pricing. When I go over here, I have these 3 choices. So first I'm going to choose flat rate. What are things they're going to tell me? We recommend a flat rate of at least 3.75. That's our dream world. Let's be honest. We want you to go to 4, but so I'm going to click on continue there. It just tells you that. What are first things I need to look at here? It's going to preload 3.75. What else do I need to do? Let's say if I'm going to walk me through it. I'll let Mike give first shot, and then Jenny, if you have anything to add there.
You know what? I apologize. I'm trying to move my screen around where I can see this bigger. Jenny, can we trade on this one?
Yep.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So right there, what you're showing is the qualified discount rate. So that's the percentage that will be charged per transaction. So then you can place it at whatever recommendation that you've discussed with us. So in this example that Nate is setting up is going to be the 2.7. Off to the right is a transaction fee. Typically, you don't charge an additional transaction fee for a flat rate, but you definitely can in order to make sure that you create a profit on the account. So again, depends upon the cards that are being accepted and all those details. So you may or may not charge a transaction fee. As you scroll down, really, because everything is flat rate, you don't need to fill out any of those additional boxes for the qualified check override, AMX qual override. Those can be left blank. So you can keep scrolling down to the options that are available to you. Scroll up a little bit, Nate. We've talked about this in the last one. You can waive a termination fee, right? So that's where it is in the portal if you'd like to waive it. If you'd like to charge an annual fee, you certainly have that option as well. So you guys, these are options. They're not required. So you can select them if you want. And then as you scroll down, these are the additional fees that are typically within an application. I recommend zeroing out anything that's not applicable because the merchant does see all this pricing. So on the right-hand column under wireless transaction fee, that's where I start. I go ahead, go even one up, Nate, for the 10 cents. Yep, I zero that out. That's where I start. If they're not using a wireless unit, zero it out. And most of these are not applicable, you guys. So you can keep going. Yep, tab zero, tab zero. These are debit fees. So if they're not using debit, you can zero everything out. Internet gateway fees, right? This is going to be a retail account, so they're not applicable. We try to put everything in there for you as a default, so it's almost like an over communication. But the required fees as you scroll down are going to be, keep going, Nate, is a chargeback fee and a retrieval fee. Oh, let's go up a little bit.
There we go, right there.
Yep. So those are the required. Chargeback fee, $25, retrieval fee, 15, and then over onto the right-hand side, you'll see the premium payments access for $14.95, which is not charged until 60 days after the merchant has been activated with us. Because Nate did choose an A920,
Right.
the pay anywhere fees are automatically in there as well. So that's what that $9.95 represents.
Yeah, and I think what it is making it as clear and easy for the merchant to not see. That's the thing when I've been studying, because I don't do a lot of these applications, but when I do, a couple times I've made mistakes and forgotten to put a couple zeros, and usually it's a friend that I'm setting up with something, and they're like, "I thought you said there was no extra fees," and I was like, "Well, you're not going to be charged that wireless fee because I didn't set you up for anything you're going to be using that for." Those kind of things. But if you don't even put that number in front of them, it just makes life a lot easier. Mike, anything you would add?
I love the answer about what Jenny said, because, and I've tried to explain this to people, that their merchants will see this list of fees, and while they don't mean anything, they're going to be wary of that, like you just said. So it's really cool. And plus, with flat rate and um, Edge, why not just be really proud of all these zeros? That's our goal with this. There's nothing else, especially with flat rate. Hey, Mr. Merchant, one fee is going to cover everything that used to take up pages and pages on your statement.
Well, and I think just making it very easy, and I didn't choose Edge on the front end, but if you're going to make it Edge, I can see the Edge program, then you'd be putting in that, because Edge is just simply a flat rate, and then you're using a piece of hardware / software that actually makes it so you can have a dual pricing solution or whatever, and that's a future show. But if I checked Edge, then we'd fill that out, and it's a flat rate to the merchant and then a flat rate to the customer. And we want to make those numbers very clear. And that's a whole nother subject that we'll go into another time. But on this flat rate, we're seeing that it's kind of a market must now. There's so many, whether it's Stripe, which just launched a new terminal. It's coming into the US here in the summer. They're coming more and more from the e-commerce and gateway space to the brick and mortar. Shopify is, QuickBooks POS is going out of end of life in the fall. Shopify is the easy transaction. There are, a couple, I think 6,000 to 10,000. I've heard different numbers. The QuickBooks POS, they're going over to Shopify, and they're going to be using Shopify as a brick and mortar, retail solution. And all those solutions are usually some type of flat rate. And so to make it sometimes apple to apple, you just got to be able to walk in and make it simple and make it easy. I'm going to bring all you up. What else have we missed on flat rates, or anything else when it just comes to flat rate pricing that's important for our partners to know?
I would say just on the back end, just keep in mind that typically flat rate merchants are placed on a daily discount, so the fees are taken out of the batch daily. It's really easy to calculate. All you have to do is take their daily totals and then multiply it by the flat rate that you set them up with, and then you can find the totals. But just keep that in mind from the back end on the billing side. Typically flat rate, we take our fees from the batch, so their batches don't match up to their deposits. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. And if they have a request to make a change, you can work with us, and we can certainly make that change to a monthly discount. Yep. I think there are a lot of merchants really get to that point where they really like that daily discount, because then they know exactly what they have to work with, what their real cash flow is. They already have one of those cost of goods sold already out of their hands, so they're not overextending themselves. Though there are others that want to, I guess, overextend themselves. There are reasons. Some accountants like to only deal with it once a month. There are other good reasons to not do it the other way. Anything else?
I don't have anything to offer on that.
All right. I think we covered it pretty well on this 4th of July. The force is with you. It is powerful. It is always, it's right there. PayProTec is here. We believe you guys as the partners are the force, and we're here to help you in any way we can. Continue to make sure the force is strong within you. And if you are like Brian Linke and Danny Shard and have never seen a Star Wars movie, sorry that this confuses all of you. That's just, that's I learned that when
I'm not far behind them. I've seen 2. Long time ago.
Right. Well, so there's some of us that hide from modern culture, but that's how we roll.
No, I'm a nerd. It's just about other things, Nate.
No, I wouldn't say you weren't a nerd or are a nerd. I'm just saying there are certain things like that at least you have to admit that crawl that we entered into this morning. People, it's kind of iconic. A few people have seen it over time. Star Wars has been seen by a few people around the world every once in a while. So
just a few.
A few. So on behalf of Jenny Rickle, Mike Stetzel, I'm Nate Manahan. This has been our office hours. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Happy 4th. Maybe the 4th be with you.